strong.
Hello, everyone, welcome to Audio Bites. Oliver Twist, a novel by Charles Dickens. Here we are with episode 3, so let's get started. On the streets of London. For a whole week, Oliver walked during the day and slept in the fields during the night. Some kind people gave him food and water. At last, he arrived in London. His feet were bleeding and he sat down on a doorstep to rest. He was wondering what to do when he heard a voice. "Hello, there. What's the matter?" Oliver looked up and saw a strange boy wearing a man's coat, which reached almost to the ground, and an old top hat. "I'm very hungry and tired," said Oliver. "I've been on the road for 7 days. Come with me and I'll buy you something to eat," said the boy. "My name is Jack Dawkins, but they call me the Artful Dodger." After a meal of bread and cold meat, Jack Dawkins began to ask questions. "Have you got any money?" "No." "Do you know anyone here?" "No." "I suppose you want somewhere to sleep tonight, don't you?" "Oh, yes, please. I know an old man who can help you. Come with me." Oliver could not believe his luck and followed his new friend gratefully. It was late when the two boys stopped outside the door of an old house in one of the poorest areas of the city. Jack went in quickly and Oliver followed him up the stairs into a big room at the top of the house. The walls and ceiling were black with smoke and dirt. An old man with long, greasy red hair was cooking some meat in a pot over the fire, and a few young boys were sitting around a table. "Mr. Fagin, meet my friend, Oliver Twist," said Jack. The old man smiled, showing long, yellow teeth like a rat, and shook Oliver's hand. The boys all jumped up and shook Oliver's hand too. One boy took his cap, another his handkerchief, and a third checked his pockets. The old man laughed and hit the boys playfully with the fork. Oliver sat down at the table with the other boys and looked around the room. A lot of colorful silk handkerchiefs were hanging on a line across the room. Oliver stared at them curiously. They looked too clean for that dirty room. "Ah, you're admiring our handkerchiefs," said Fagin. "We've just washed them, my dear." He laughed again and all the boys laughed, too. Oliver didn't know why they were laughing, but he thought they were all very cheerful and friendly. After supper, Jack showed him where to sleep, a mattress on the floor, and Oliver fell asleep at once. The next morning Oliver woke up late and Fagin told him that the other boys were at work. Soon Jack and his friend, Charlie Bates, came back. Jack gave Fagin 2 well-made wallets, and Charlie had 4 silk handkerchiefs. Fagin showed the things to Oliver. "Look, Oliver, what clever boys they are. Would you like to learn to come home every day with wallets and handkerchiefs like these, "Oh yes, sir, if you'll teach me." Fagin and the boys laughed loudly, then they began to play a game. Fagin put some things into his pockets and the boys tried to take them out secretly. If Fagin felt a hand in his pocket, or saw one of the boys, Fagin was the winner. If the boys got the things without Fagin noticing, then they won the game. Oliver watched the boys carefully and soon he wanted to play, too. He learned quickly and Fagin was pleased. A few days later, Fagin let Oliver go out with Jack and Charlie. For a long time they walked around slowly, then suddenly Jack stopped. He pointed towards an old gentleman, standing outside a bookshop, and whispered, "He'll do." "Perfect," agreed Charlie. Oliver didn't understand. He couldn't see anything special about the old gentleman. He was reading a book from the stall outside the shop and didn't seem to notice anything around him. Jack and Charlie walked slowly towards him, then, quick as a flash, Jack pulled the handkerchief out of the old man's pocket and the 2 boys disappeared round the corner. It was then that Oliver understood that Jack and Charlie were thieves. He turned to run away, but the old gentleman saw him and realized his handkerchief was not in his pocket. "Stop thief," he shouted, and soon a crowd of people was running after Oliver, all shouting, "Stop thief." Oliver was terrified. He ran like the wind, but suddenly he slipped and fell. The crowd stood round him, and the old gentleman looked down at him sadly. "Yes, I'm afraid this is the boy." At that moment the man from the bookshop arrived. "This boy is not the thief," he explained. "I saw everything from my shop. 2 other boys stole the handkerchief." The old gentleman looked at Oliver's pale face and his innocent frightened eyes. "This boy is ill. Get a carriage. I'm taking him to my home." Oliver closed his eyes and remembered nothing more. Here we are at the end of the 3rd episode. Link to previous episodes is right there in the description below. Also, check out the playlist to other audiobooks in the same